Good morning. In the last lecture, we talked about application of Bose-Einstein statistics to photon gas. And the last article of this chapter, application of Fermi-Dirac statistics to electronics. Application of Fermi-Dirac statistics to electron gas. Electron gas. Electrons are fermions. Why? Electrons are fermions because they have spin up integral plus or minus 1 by 2, and therefore electrons inside a metal are taken as the characteristic fermions, and to these electrons Fermi-Dirac statistics can be applied. Based on conductivity, electrical conductivity, materials are divided into 3 categories: insulators, semiconductors, and good conductors. Insulators are the materials which do not carry the electrical energy, which do not allow the electrical current to pass through it. The reason is, in insulators there are no free electrons, and therefore insulators are bad conductors. Second category, semiconductors. Semiconductors have very few number of free electrons in pure form, and therefore they carry very little amount of electrical energy. The very few number of free electrons in semiconductor can carry the electrical current, and therefore this category of materials are classified as semiconductors. Third and important category, as far as we consider conduction of electrical energy, these are the good conductors. Good conductors have plenty of free electrons at room temperature, even at temperatures lower than room temperature. As these materials are having plenty of free electrons, these free electrons can carry the electrical energy very easily, and therefore this category of materials is known as good conductor. All metals are good conductors because they have plenty of free electrons at room temperature, even below room temperature. Therefore, they can carry the current very easily. When we talk of a metal, a small piece of metal is consisting of large number of atoms, billions of atoms. Every atom is consisting of nucleus at the center, having neutrons and protons, and electrons moving outside the nucleus in various orbits. The first orbit nearest to nucleus, second orbit, third, fourth, and so on. As we move away from the nucleus outwards, we will encounter first energy level corresponding to first orbit, second energy level corresponding to second orbit, third energy level, fourth energy level, and so on, corresponding to first orbit, second orbit, third orbit, fourth orbit, and so on. The first energy level in every atom, when the whole metal is taken, overlap on each other. There is overlapping of first energy level of all the atoms comprising the metal, and therefore the energy level may be converted to a band. This is a band. We may call this as first energy band. Second energy level of all the atoms inside the metal again overlap on each other and may give rise to second energy band. Okay, similarly then third energy band, fourth energy band, and so on. So the electrons inside a metal get distributed among different energy bands. First energy band, second energy band, third energy band, and so on. Number of electrons in various energy bands will be decided by number of energy states in that particular band, that particular energy level. The outermost energy band will be valence energy band or simply valence band. Valence band in metals is not completely filled with the electrons. Few electrons are there in the valence band of all metals. One thing. Octet of the last cell, valence cell, is not complete, and therefore the electrons in the valence cell are unstable. They are loosely bound with the atom, with the electrostatic force of attraction exerted by the protons inside the nucleus. Therefore, with a supply of very small amount of energy, these electrons in the valence band, they break the covalent bond with which they are bound with the atom inside the valence band and may jump to the conduction band. The electrons in conduction band are very large in number because number of atoms inside piece of a metal are very large in number. Billions, maybe more than billions of atoms. Every valence cell of every atom may have few number of electrons, and therefore when we consider these billions of atoms together inside the metal, billions of electrons will be free at room temperature in the conduction band. Almost no force is acting on the electrons when they are in the conduction band, and therefore electrons in the conduction band are considered as free electrons. Almost no force is acting on these electrons in the conduction band, and therefore the electrons in the conduction band are free to move through the metal in any direction with any possible velocity depending on the energy acquired by these free electrons. The electrons which are lying at the bottom of conduction band are supposed to have zero energy. When they are free, they are supposed to have zero energy when they are at the bottom of conduction band. The electrons which are above the bottom of conduction band will have higher and higher energies, and these electrons are free to roam, free to move in any direction with any possible velocity. Collection of all these electrons in the conduction band, which are almost free, on which almost no force is acting, which can move in any direction with any possible velocity. Collection of all such electrons is taken as electron gas, free electron gas. It is taken as free electron gas. In this article, we are going to apply Fermi-Dirac statistics on these electrons. These electrons are the free electrons. The collection of all these free electrons is taken as a system. A system consisting of very large number of fermions which are identical and indistinguishable from each other. And we are here going to apply Fermi-Dirac statistics to these electrons. From the knowledge of quantum mechanics, we knew that energy of every electron is quantized. There is quantization of energy. Whenever we talk of physics in the microscopic world, whenever we talk of physics in the microscopic world, for any object, any material, energy of every object, energy of every particle in the microscopic world is quantized. Quantized energy spectrum of these particles is discrete, countable. The electrons, when they are in a conduction band, are free electrons. The particles we talk of in the microscopic world, applying quantum mechanics, are bound particles, restricted particles. When the particles are in motion, and if they are restricted, when the particles are in motion, and if they are bound, energy spectrum of such particles is quantized, discrete in nature. But the electrons in conduction band are not bound. As electrons found to bound in various energy levels in various energy bands. As the electrons are behaving as completely free electrons in the conduction band, energy spectrum of these electrons is not discrete. As the energy spectrum of the electrons in conduction band is not discrete, it means that the energy spectrum of the electrons in the conduction band is continuous. As energy possessed by the electrons in conduction band is continuous, it is not discrete. The distribution law we derived for fermions could not be applied as it is in its original form to these fermions. We have to modify this distribution law. The original form of this distribution law is This one. So the original form of the distribution law we derived in Fermi-Dirac statistics is this. Putting the values of alpha is equal to minus Em by kT and beta is equal to 1 by kT. This equation in modified form can be written as equation number. This is the equation when the particles are in bound state, are restricted. Okay, but the fermions in conduction band are not bound completely, and therefore this equation could not be applied in this form to the fermions, to the electrons in the conduction band. As energy spectrum of the electrons in conduction band is continuous, this Gi should be replaced by G of P dt. This G of P dt corresponding to energy states in the energy band Te when energy spectrum is roughly continuous. So, for the electrons in the conduction band, let us modify equation 1 and write this as dn. dn number of fermions, number of electrons in this energy band. dt. d energy band is this. dt and p. Difference of these two will be d. And the number of fermions in this energy band, let us consider as dn, and equation 1 for this may be now equation 2 is in the proper form, which can now be applied to the fermions, to the electrons in the conduction band. The number of states because of translational motion of electrons, the number of states because of translational motion of electrons in the conduction band are known as the translational states, and translational states in translational states per unit volume in the Fermi sphere, in the Fermi space. Translational states in the Fermi space are given by the formula 2 times V divided by 2 pi q. Why this 2 is coming? This 2 is coming because of plus or minus 1 by 2 spin. Plus 1 by 2 spin, minus 1 by 2 spin. 2 types of spins. For these two types of spins, this 2 is coming here. This is V divided by 2 pi q corresponding to the translational states. This is for the spin of the electron, and therefore this will correspond to the number of translational states of the electrons in the Fermi space. Mathematically, this may be written as, for this we shall replace this dn by n and this equation with this. This will be replaced by this, and here we will have the volume of Fermi sphere in the Fermi space. Volume of Fermi sphere in the Fermi space. If Kf is taken as radius of Fermi sphere, volume of this Fermi sphere will be 4/3 of pi into Kf cube. And so, number of electrons corresponding to these translational states will be now taken as n is equal to 2 times V divided by 2 pi 3 into 4 by 3 pi Kf cube 4 divided by e to the power Ei minus Af divided by Kt plus 1, equation number 2. Then let us use some fundamentals of physics so that we can manipulate equation 3. The fundamentals are: momentum of any particle in quantum mechanics is given by the equation P is equal to h divided by lambda. When any particle is in motion, its momentum is given by P is equal to h by lambda. P momentum, h Planck's constant, lambda, wave nature of the particle. There is one duality principle in quantum mechanics. According to this duality principle, a particle under certain conditions behaves as a particle. The same particle under other sort of conditions will behave as a wave. It possesses dual nature. As it possesses dual nature, and if it is in motion, it will behave as a wave, and wave will have polar length. Therefore, P momentum of the particle in motion, h Planck's constant, lambda its length. From the same equation, we may write its wavelength lambda is equal to h divided by P, equation number 4. Then we also have one equation from the wave theory. Lambda is equal to 2 pi divided by k. From the wave theory, lambda is equal to 2 pi divided by k. 2 pi is constant corresponding to one period, lambda wavelength, k wave number. Or further, I may put k is equal to 2 pi divided by lambda, equation number 5. Let us compare these two. Lambda is equal to h by p, lambda is equal to 2 pi by k. So we may write here h by p is equal to 2 pi divided by k, or From this I may have P by H is equal to K by 2 pi, or P is equal to K divided by 2 pi divided by H, or I may write this P is equal to H divided by 2 pi into K, equation number 6. Similarly, from the same equation or from this equation, I can write K is equal to 2 pi by H into P, equation number 7. We started with the fundamentals of quantum mechanics. P is equal to h by lambda. From this, lambda is h by 2. Lambda is equal to 2 pi by lambda k. From this, k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. Comparing these two, LHS is lambda. Okay. Same. Equating RHS, we will have k is equal to h by 2 pi into k, and k is equal to 2 pi by p divided by h. Come back to this equation 3. Before going to 3, let me go for one more relation. Kinetic energy is given by 1 by 2 m square. So I need to decide E is equal to 1 by 2 m square. Multiply and divide this by m to get m square d square divided by 2m, that is p square divided by 2m is equal to p square divided by 2m. But what is p here? H by 2 pi k. So I may write this as h by 2 pi k bracket square one by 2m into h by 2 pi k bracket square. One more thing, from here we have k is equal to 2 pi by h into p. What is p from this equation? H by 2 pi k, and I may put this further as kf is equal to 2 pi by h into p, equation number 7. What we do? We shall first use equation 7. Kf is equal to 2 pi h by 2 pi by h into p here. After that, we will come back to these equations. So let me use equation 7 and equation 3. To get n is equal to 2v divided by 2 pi cube into 4.3 pi 2 pi by h into p cube. This whole divided by e to the power ei minus ef divided by kt plus 1 equation number 8. Then let me use this equation. E is equal to P square divided by 2m. From this equation, A is equal to P square divided by 2m. I can write P square is equal to 2me, or P is equal to 2me to the power 1 by 2. Equation number 9. Let me put equation 9 for P here in equation 8, so that this n may further be written as n is equal to 2b divided by 2 pi cube into 4 by 3 pi 2 pi by h cube into, for p I have to put this 2me to the power, this is 3, this is 1 by 2, so it will be d by 2. This whole divided by e to the power ei minus ef divided by kt plus 1 equation number 10. So this is about the number of fermions present in the Fermi space. Fermi space corresponding to Fermi energy. What is Fermi energy? Fermi energy is the maximum kinetic energy or maximum energy possessed by an electron at T is equal to 0 degree Kelvin temperature. All the free electrons will be present in the Fermi space. Energies of all free electrons will be more than the Fermi energy. All free electrons are having energy more than Fermi energy, and therefore the free electrons are said to be present within the Fermi space. And within Fermi space we will have the Fermi sphere. Atom is spherical in shape. Okay. So let us consider the Fermi space is spherical in shape, and so we consider the Fermi space as Fermi sphere. So in that Fermi sphere, number of free electrons present are given by equation number 10. This is half of the article. Half portion of this article is left. We shall go to this half part in the next lecture. I hope you got all these things that I told, and the mathematical part I derived. Okay, thank you.